Krishnamoorthi of Illinois has been good enough to stay with me here. He's a member of both the House Intel and Oversight Committees. And so you've read this two-page letter from Bill Barr. We were just talking about it with Gloria. What's your biggest question?
Well, we see in this letter that Attorney General Barr intends to redact certain material before presenting it to the public by mid-April. And some of those categories make sense.
He gives four categories.
Four categories. One is grand jury material, which makes sense. He also talks about information and ongoing investigations. That also makes sense. And then methods and sources information that could compromise our intelligence community's efforts.
But it's this one you have an issue with.
There's a fourth category that's just weird. I haven't seen this before. He says any information that would unduly infringe on the personal privacy and reputational interests of peripheral third parties. I don't know what he's talking about.
What could he be referencing? Would it be third party, the president?
I don't know. I mean, it could be other members of the cabinet. It could be Jared Kushner. It could be any number of people who they think is somehow peripheral to this investigation. The other thing that I wanted to just point out is, although he says that he's not going to submit this report to the White House for its privilege review, executive privilege review, basically he says that the president has publicly stated he intends to defer to Attorney General Barr with regard to this review.
What does that tell you?
Well, basically, Attorney General Barr is going to make his own call about executive privilege. I personally think executive privilege doesn't apply to the vast majority of what's in this report. Certainly nothing that would be involved with any wrongdoing or potential misconduct. Privilege never covers stuff like that. So the bottom line is, let's get the report. Hopefully they'll keep the redactions to a minimum and to categories that are usually acceptable, but not to ones such as this fourth category where I'm hoping they don't just redact, huge portions of the report.
What is your, of the multitude of big burning questions that you have for this, as we've learned, nearly 400 pages long piece from Bob Mueller, what is your top question you want to see in this thing?
Well, I'd like to see the evidence on both sides of the question of obstruction of justice, which Attorney General Barr referred to in his 4-page letter. I'd like to see why Bob Mueller decided not to pursue criminal conspiracy charges with regard to those different incidents that Adam Schiff had gone into yesterday in his speech. And then third, I'd like to see that counterintelligence information that we talked about before that's vital to understanding, what do the Russians have on us or our public officials, and how do we protect ourselves in 2020 and beyond?